biggest challenge with you getting back into great shape that there simply isn't enough time in your days? That you feel like your business, your family is constantly needing your time and attention. And when you get strained or get stressed, the first thing you've sacrificed is yourself. If that resonates and you know that things need to change, then this podcast is going to be perfect for you. My name is Brian Pickowicz. I'm one of the head coaches and co-founders here at the Fitness Project, where we focus on building fit and healthy leaders. Now, a lot of times when we talk to our clients, the biggest constraint for them when it comes to losing the weight and keeping it off is that they do not feel like they have enough time to be consistent. They feel like they don't have enough time to take care of themselves or prep food or eat right. And I use the word feel very intentionally because oftentimes it's just a feeling that is the byproduct of stress, the way that we're feeling in any given moment. Now, it doesn't mean that they don't have real constraints or responsibilities. But oftentimes when we feel like we don't have enough time, it keeps us from looking at the opportunities that we might have available to us to either create more space, eliminate some distractions, or optimize the habits that would actually get us into fantastic shape without requiring us to sacrifice hours on end. And so after talking to so many clients, we realized we need to make a time management masterclass. We need to help people understand the skill of managing their time more effectively because it is a skill. And if you can look at this season of life and say, hey, maybe what worked in the past for managing my time doesn't work right now and I need to upgrade those skills, well, then this podcast is going to be perfect for you. So Lindsey and I did a masterclass with a small group of about 60 people, and we showed them how they can start managing their time more effectively. And we want to share it here with you. So all we would say is grab a pen, grab a paper, and start taking some notes so you can learn how to A, manage your time more effectively. You can start to understand maybe some of the things you need to let go of or delegate or automate in your own life. And then also, lastly, we cover how you can actually start to get great results with your fitness and health without having to work out for hours on end or meal prep everything in advance. So I hope this is helpful. Let me know in the comment section what your big takeaway is. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up and subscribe. And on that note, let's dive into Masterclass.
So welcome in, everyone. Great job getting here right on time and even a little bit early. If we haven't met yet, I'm Lindsey Pickowicz.
And I'm Brian Pickowicz.
It is lovely to have you here for this time management masterclass. So we are going to teach you a lot today.
Yes.
But our main outcome, our main goal is to make you feel like you can, even with a little bit of time, get in great shape, lose weight, get consistent, and build a healthy, beautiful life. Everybody down for that? That's why you're here. That's why you registered.
Awesome. So the one thing that we asked, one of the things that we're really keen on here at the Fitness Project is playing full out and being fully engaged. So we know that for a lot of you have yourself on camera, but if you can, if you're in a position and you can, we understand if you're driving or you got other things, but if you can put yourself on camera, it's always helpful because it makes it so we actually get to meet. There you go, Josh. Action taker. I respect it. I appreciate it. Awesome. Well, so we're going to dive into this and we're really going to get you started. So we like to start off with a little bit of a temp check. First, we know that this is about fitness and health. It's a starting point. So what are your current fitness and health goals? And maybe this is a fun question. Maybe this is where you might catch a few hours of sleep. But if you had an extra 3 to 5 hours per week in your days, right, in your week, what would you do? What would you do with that extra time?
Yes.
Right. So this might be practical for some of you. It might be, well, I would go and finally work on my house. I would finally go and spend time with my loved ones. I would do X, Y, Z. So first, what are your fitness and health goals? Just put those in the chat box. And what would you do with that extra 3 to 5 hours per week?
Yes.
Now, here's what's great. By the end of this conversation, you might be able to find that extra time, right? You might be able to find that extra time.
So go ahead, pop it in there. What are your current goals? And you can minimize it. You can just jot a few bullet points in there. And then what would you want to do if you had an extra 3 to 5 hours per week? Pop it in there. And what this is going to do, it'll open your mind up to exactly what you are trying to take away today. Because if we give you an extra 3 to 5 hours, we want you to know exactly what you're going to do with it.
Clean my house more. I love it.
Clean your house. Yes. I feel that. Excellent. And keep rolling them in. I know you guys are typing and it's coming in a little slow on our end, but we'll see it as it comes.
Walk more, hang out with friends. I love that. Get fit and declutter. Love that. Get outside. Love that. Want to sleep. Yeah, I understand that.
All, like I said, no wrong answers.
Great.
All acceptable.
These are fantastic.
So we're all here because we want to feel like we have a little bit more time. Everybody probably knows it's true. We only have how many hours in a day, everybody? We only have 24. So what are we going to do with it? That's what we're going to talk about.
Now, as we're looking at it, we want to get a temp check. We want to understand where some of you might be. And if this resonates, just give us a thumbs up or just give us an emoji, if you will. But for a lot of you, you're probably feeling a little exhausted right now, right? And you just can't seem to find the space or time to work out or eat right. Right? Does anyone ever feel that way? That's pretty accurate. Like, hey, I'm exhausted. I can't really find the time. Yeah, that's very common. We also know for a lot of you, your business and career are probably crushing it, right? You're here because you're successful. You're here because you have put some things in the right place, but your energy and health might be dragging and you might need some attention there. Right? Does that resonate? That, hey, things are going well in one area, but I do need to make some focus in another, right? I need to start taking care of myself. I need to start taking care of my body. Yeah, we see that. Amazing. And so we know that for a lot of you too, you might feel like you know what to do, but you just don't have the time and energy to follow through, right? I have the knowledge of how to eat and how to train, but just not happening well for me. And if that resonates, the good news is you're not alone, right? You're in common partnerships with a lot of people who are experiencing the same challenge. And so here's the thing that we want to hammer home today. A lot of times we feel like we're a victim to our time. That's not the case. We have to actually learn that we need to not just say, oh, I need to get more time. We need to learn how to use our time more wisely. We have to become the owner of our time. And that really means we have to learn how to be effective, right? Being effective is more important than being productive. Productivity is how many things can I get done? Effectiveness is, did I get the most important things done to move the needle forward? And so today, what we're really going to focus on is developing the number one skill that changes everything. That number one skill is, how do I actually manage my time? How do I manage my focus? There's a great speaker, his name's Tim Grover. He said time management is focus management. You can write that one down. Because oftentimes we have enough time, but we don't have the focus or we don't have the skills. The big thing that we're going to hammer home, because we're going to give you so much value in this conversation, but you have to see this as a skill you're developing. If you do not know how to manage your time yet, see it as a skill, right? See it as something that you have to continue to engage with to get better with. And if you reach a day and you're like, oh my God, the day got away from me, just needs to be something that you revisit so you can develop that skill. And so today we're going to show you how to develop that skill. We're also going to give you 3 secrets, 3 tips, 3 actionable ways that you can get fit when your time is very limited, right? So is everyone up for that? Is everyone on track? Does this sound like a good place to go? Can I get some thumbs up? Fantastic. Awesome. Great stuff.
Awesome. So here's our agenda. Keeping it simple, keeping it straightforward. We're going to start with some time management blind spots you might not realize you have. And then we'll talk about those 3 secrets to getting in shape, even if you only have a little bit of time. And then we're going to talk about the keys to keeping your commitments, because who knows, you can say you're committed and then it quickly gets deleted off your calendar, right? It happens to the best of us. So how do you actually keep your commitments? We're going to go through that today as well. And as a reminder, before we go to the end, or once we get to the end, we're going to make sure you guys have a bonus. You have some clear action items. So stick with us all the way through to the best of your ability. We're going to keep it at a tight hour. Unless you guys have tons of questions and you want to ask, we are welcome to stay for an extra 15 minutes if we need it. But we're going to keep it tight. Stick around to the end and you'll get that bonus as well. Okay? So let's kick off. For who here is this your first time meeting us?
First call?
First visual. Awesome.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Glad to have you. Well, we'll introduce ourselves a little bit more formally. So as I said, I'm Lindsey. This is Brian. We are married and we run the Fitness Project. So the Fitness Project was a project that we created in 2019 as really just a starting point to help people get healthy. We thought, what are the great 6 habits that everybody needs and is never taught when it comes to fitness? And that was the original idea. But over the last 5 to 6 years, it's blossomed into this beautiful company where we help entrepreneurs, executives, and business leaders really implement very simple strategies to make health a sustainable, fulfilling, and core value of their life. If we can do that, then fitness and health becomes something that's just a part of who you are. It's not something you're on and off of. It's not a weight loss and weight gain type of yo-yo. It becomes consistent.
And so for us, we've worked with thousands of clients all across the country, and these are some of the most ambitious and busy entrepreneurs, business leaders, managers, people who are struggling to really take care of themselves. And they know that in order to continue to grow, in order to continue to have that vitality, the energy, that focus, they need to take care of themselves. And so we help them integrate fitness into their lives in a way that allows them to get great physical results, but also just becomes a part of who they are. Because when you have your health, you have everything, right? When you have your health, you're a positive influence for everyone else around you. You become a positive leader. And it's that pillar that so many people neglect. But if it's there, then everything else has a positive impact, or it's positively impacted because of that change that we make.
Now, we're going to kick off with just illuminating some blind spots. It's impossible to change something that you are not aware of. Yes? So why does fitness feel impossible sometimes? Why does it feel like you cannot fit it in? There's usually 3 blind spots. The first blind spot of a high performer specifically, somebody who's very ambitious, who feels like, man, I just need to get myself together and get moving here, but I can't. Why? Number one, usually, especially when it comes to fitness and health, if you are flying by the seat of your pants, which in this realm means, I've got the motivation, I've got the drive, I'm going to work out tonight. I'm going to work out this week. I got it. That is flying by the seat of your pants. If that's where the planning starts and ends, we don't have a clear time, we don't have a clear strategy, we don't have any clarity of that commitment, then we're flying by the seat of our pants. And you can see how in your mind that feels like you're definitely going to follow through this time. But if it keeps happening cyclically, most likely the blind spot is that you're actually not planning. You're not actually managing your time intentionally, so it kind of tends to fall off.
Yeah, it's a bad strategy.
The second, similar vibe, if you create plans without scheduling them. Who's ever said, I have the best intentions? I intended to work out today. It was my intention to work out today. Yeah, we all have. If you create a plan without scheduling it, then it's very unlikely to happen. I was just talking to a client about this week. She was like, I knew I was going to work out at 4. It's like, and then was it on your calendar? Did anybody else know about it? Well, no. Did you know what workout you were going to do? Well, no, I kind of planned to do this one. Like, well, you created a plan in your head, but you didn't actually schedule it. And that can be a blind spot that gets in your way. This is the most powerful blind spot to illuminate for you of the 3. I will say that. Being a task manager is where a lot of high performers get stuck.
Mm-hmm.
A task manager is someone who has a monstrous to-do list that they can never get to the end of. Task after task after task after task. And it is exhausting and discouraging. If you are a task manager, you are always going to feel like there's not enough time in a day. If you are a results producer, which is somebody who knows exactly the most important outcome for the day or for the week or for the business or the month, then you are going to feel like you have far more time and far less to do. If you feel called out, that is a good thing, because we're going to teach you how to get rid of this blind spot now that you're aware of it, if that is you, what to do instead. How do you become a results producer? Because if you know the result, you'll realize there's actually only a few tasks that really have to happen to produce the result. Mm-hmm. Whereas if you have, again, a task list, everything feels equally important and you never get it all done.
Yes.
Right? Does that make sense? Does that resonate a little bit? Yes. Okay.
Awesome. And so the big question that we really want to lean into right now, and the thing that we want to focus on, is how can we really learn to take care of ourselves so that it feels like we're doing something that's productive, right? How can we really lean in a direction that allows us to take care of ourselves and do it in a different way this time, right? With the time that we actually have.
Simply said, if you resonate with a lot of those blind spots, it's not to beat yourself up, but it's to say like, all right, what do I have to do differently, right? Growth mindset, everyone. And the answer to that is you got to learn to work effectively with the time you do have. If Brian and I could give you a couple extra hours in your day, we would charge a lot more. But today we're going to teach you how to use what you got more effectively.
Here's the thing to remember too about time. Time is the universal asset and resource that we all have. And I want you to write this down. And it's not on the slideshow, but time is a resource. And your job is to become resourceful with your time, which means it's something that we all have the equal amount of time. How come some people get more things done? Is it because they have more money so they can ask for some more help? Is it because they don't have kids, they don't have the same constraints in their business? Well, it could be that, but oftentimes if you talk to those people, they're very resourceful. And so our goal today is to teach you how to be a little more resourceful, and it's a constant, ever-evolving skill. Okay, so when we look at this, again, our goal is to teach you about fitness, but we need to remove some of the constraints that get in the way so you can actually execute on what you need for your health. Because if we can remove the time constraint, well, then it gets easy to eat right. Maybe even the belief that you don't have enough time is the thing we're going to eliminate today, right? And that's actually our goal. But today we're going to really share 3 secrets that make it really simple and easy for you to get in shape regardless of how much time you have, okay?
All right. So get ready. Pen's ready. This is going to be a great one. I'm excited for you. Become the owner of your time. Secret number 1. Now, what do we mean? Become the owner of your time. I did a training on this a few years ago, and it's probably our most popular training we've ever done. So breaking it down even more specifically than that training did, becoming the owner of your time, it starts with a mindset shift. It starts with an identity shift almost. Because think about it. When you're the victim of your calendar, kind of feels like this. Like things are always getting tossed at you. Meetings are always being put on your calendar. You always have another client to reach out to or another thing to do. You start to feel like the victim of your calendar, as if it has come alive and is taking from you, right? Sometimes it can absolutely feel like that. But the mindset shift is, I need to be the owner of this schedule. I need to own my time. This is my time. And almost like a homeowner, instead of like consuming and living in the house and tearing it apart like a rock star, we're going to own it. We're going to take care of it. We're going to be mindful with it, right? Just even that identity shift from either consumer or that victimhood to I'm the owner of this time. That one identity shift makes a world of difference. So now lean into that, because then the question is, well, how do I become the owner of my time? What does that even mean? Yes, it's a mindset shift, but then how would you operate differently if that was how you viewed time? Think about it. A business owner knows, and what gets measured gets managed. If we're not measuring, then we probably can't improve.
It's hard to improve your weight if you're not stepping on the scale. Exactly. Right? If you have a weight loss goal and you don't step on the scale, well, hopefully, and that's what we often depend on is hope, right? But hope's a really weak strategy. It's the same with our time. So if we're not managing it, well, if we're not measuring it, we can't manage it, right?
So the first thing we want to do if we're the owner of our time is we need to take this, we'll say, intangible metric of time and hours on a clock and actually make it tangible. Make it tangible. Make it something that you can touch, feel, move around, shift with, play with. If you try to keep a calendar in your head, you forget everything and you end up feeling like you're doing nothing, even if you're running around all day long. Right? That's because you're operating without a tangible measurement of time. Now, there's a couple different ways that you can make time tangible. We're going to get super tactical here. Is everybody good with that? Just for a second? Okay, cool. We want to give you something that you can physically do right now after this as well. So there's 2 ways that you make time tangible. Now, this alone will change your life if you don't do this. Just show of hands, who has a calendar? Who keeps a calendar? Okay, perfect. There are 2 routines or rituals that are game changers when it comes to managing your time and your schedule. Number 1 is a weekly setup. Number 2 is a daily setup. I'm going to walk through each one extremely specifically because you need to have step-by-step on how to do this, and we're not going to leave it vague for you. Watch out, because as we start doing this, if you tend to be that task manager who says, what do I have to do today? You are going to struggle with this. The new question you want to write down or screenshot this and ask yourself every day, all the time, every week is what results are most important to accomplish? What results? And your brain, if you're not used to this question, is going to go, what do you mean? I don't know. Think, what's the outcome? What's the result? It's not, I'm going to show up on a client meeting. It's, I'm going to create a new customer. I'm going to create a raving fan. I'm going to help Kay determine her plan while she's traveling. Like there's a very specific outcome of the call, right? So think, as I teach you this and we walk you through the weekly and the daily setup, this is your new primary question. No longer ask yourself, what do I got to do today? If you notice that language, shift it. Game changer. Okay? So here is where you take your time back. A Sunday setup routine is a really, really simple weekly discipline that will change your life. Most people do not actually sit down and complete this exercise. They just look at their calendar briefly, look at the appointments that are already on there, and then just assume that they're going to find time for things. Yeah. That is not a good strategy for consistency. Your time will get eaten up. Who knows it? Your time will get eaten up if it's white and blank, right?
If you don't have a criteria for what you're going to put your time into, there will be people who eat up your time, right? Yes. If you're right, Kay?
She knows.
Kay's like, oh yeah. If you don't decide this is what's really important, this is what must happen, well, then it's going to be shifted around because it's going to be something that people can take advantage of or take from you.
Okay, so how do you conduct a weekly setup? It's as simple as 3 steps. Number 1, before you do anything, you got to ask yourself, what results do I want to create this week? Do I want to lose a pound? If it's in the fitness realm, do I want to close a certain amount of deals? Do I want to onboard a new employee? What are the results? What are the outcomes that I want to create this week? Always start there.
And for those of you who have children or family members or friends, I want to build a deep relationship. I want to be present with those I care about. Like there's nothing, it doesn't always have to be these benchmarks, right? We can also ask ourselves like, hey, you know what? I really do want to spend time with my husband or wife, or I want to make sure that I'm present with X person. That's a great outcome as well. But we have to ask ourselves what's important to accomplish or really feel like we're moving towards.
Yeah. And then you can see how number 2 is really important. Because if you, I'm going to go with the relationship example, because I think that's a good one to test here. What results do I want to create? I want to create a deeper relationship with my husband, this guy, Brian.
That's me.
And then the next question is, what must I do to create that result? Well, I'm going to need to make sure I schedule a date night, or I talk to him first, maybe, right? There's certain things I'm going to have to schedule, or have dinner with him tonight and talk to him about a date night next week or something. What must you do to create those results? Sounds simple, but sometimes we skip that and we just start scheduling.
And you can also see, and then just kind of building off this so you can get some new thought patterns. Well, I want to build a deeper relationship with my wife. Okay, well, what must I do to create that? Well, honestly, I need to feel like I'm taking care of myself first because I'm not always present if I've had a chaotic day, right? So sometimes we can build awareness of some things that need to happen first for us to achieve our result. And that's why this is such a powerful question.
From there, step number 3, then you start blocking out time. Block time to create the result. Sounds pretty straightforward. If you have results you want to create and there's things you got to do to get them, well, you're going to have to block out some time to actually accomplish those. They're not just going to come to fruition on their own, right? But this is how you want it. This is actually the order you want to do this in. Again, game changer. There's going to be appointments that are probably already booked that you can't move or that you don't want to move. You're going to have meetings. You're going to have family activities, things you're kind of the chauffeur or already committed to, most likely, or grandmother, babysitter, whatever. Then nobody puts this on the calendar. Workouts or self-care. Workouts, or you could schedule times to eat. I just told a client that the other day. Hey, do you ever schedule your lunch? Oh, well, why don't you do that? Right? Schedule your workouts, self-care, morning routine, whatever it is, put it actually in your calendar. Block it off. And then create the time for your results. I'm going to show you an example of this. And then everything else, after you do those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things, leave the white space. Leave the white space. Don't feel like you have to schedule every single moment of your life. But watch this. Make sure you have the screenshot of this if you need it. But watch this. So once your results are set, again, you can't just write this all down as like list form. You got to actually put it in a physical calendar. So this is what I would call level 1. Okay, so a lot of you raise your hand that you keep some type of calendar. This is level 1. And maybe some of you do some of this. But if you look here, I have workouts scheduled. Pretty easy to fit 3 workouts if I look at my time and I make it tangible. You tend to feel like you have more time when you can actually see it, right? It's not just in your head like, oh God, I got to fit that in. Oh, I need to finish this project first. And then a block out like, okay, if I want to create, we'll say this is project number 1 that creates some type of result, close 3 deals or whatever. Well, then I got 2 hours blocked off or 3 hours blocked off. And you kind of see that throughout. And then I put blocks in for meetings. I know I have meetings all day. And then family dinner or my Sunday setup. I'm scheduling in some basic things here. Work-related, family-related, my personal time. Again, just scheduling this makes you automatically more likely to follow through, especially if you look at this on a daily basis.
Now, Lindsay, does that mean that's the only thing you're going to get done on those days?
Definitely not.
Right? So these are just giving a criteria for success and a target to aim at. And what's great about a schedule is it can always change, right?
Yeah.
But this is where you want to start by adding some of those basic results, those basic focuses for yourself.
Who is a paper planner person? Do we have any paper planner people? Great. Paper planner people, make sure your setup inside your planner looks like this. Very few planners show you a full week. But if you have a full week and days, you can find planners like this. If you don't want to switch over to digital, actually have all hours, at least one weekly view every week, and then it can break down daily. It's really hard to look at scheduling across a whole week if you only have like 2 days to look at a time. That's just advice, but you may take it if you'd like. So this is level 1. Now I'm going to show you a level 11. Don't freak out. This is Lindsay's calendar. Okay. I'm showing you this because this is a skill to develop. I kept a calendar long before Brian did. And I started keeping a calendar, I think it was the year after college. So I've been keeping a calendar for like 8 years or so. And this is the level I'm at now, where I schedule everything. And you'll see if you like zoom in really close, I have a time to prime my mind every day. Very specific. I have my workouts scheduled. I have every meeting. I have Banda's on this call, and I have a block somewhere in here to do her workout program. Like, I have blocks for everything. But every single day I have this open, and I'm constantly looking back. I'm dragging and dropping things. This is level 11. You do not have to be here, but I'm just showing you what's possible when you really take ownership of your time.
Yes. And here's what's great. I just want to pause here for a moment, because one of the things we're going to talk about is delegation. All right. We're going to talk about how to expand your capacity in a moment. But if you have a calendar like this, for example, Lindsay, she can look at some of this and say, oh, you know what? I need to hire someone to do the website. I'm going to outsource that. That's not my priority anymore. Right? So if you start actually tracking and measuring your time, you might find that there's some things that you can start delegating in a faster way versus feeling like you have to hold on to the blocks, right? And for those of you who are control freaks, I know it's going to feel a little uncertain, but that's where you want to start to see is if you look at it and you can manage or you can see your time tangibly, that's where you can actually start managing it more effectively because you can ask for help or you can eliminate the non-essential.
Okay. Now, pause. Who does not, in full transparency, who does not keep any type of calendar right now? Can I see? Because I'm going to show you something else.
Perfect.
Okay. You guys tell me. You all.
Okay, Josh. Okay.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So if this feels overwhelming, erase it from your brain. Yes. Because the next thing you want to do, if you've ever tried to keep a calendar, you write it down and then it kind of disappears and nothing goes well. That's normal. So here's what you want to do at a minimum. Okay, if calendar feels overwhelming, everything I just showed you was like, holy F, how am I going to do that? Start with daily. And for the people who keep a calendar, absolutely do daily. Because you can set your whole calendar and assume it's going to go great. And then day one blows apart and then nothing gets accomplished. Right? I know that happens a lot. So your daily setup. We have a lot of clients do this when they first come in because it totally changes how you perceive time and how you perceive your days. Conducting a daily setup is as simple as one question. What results do I want to create today? Mm-hmm. What results do I want to create today? And you're only allowed to write 2 to 3 at most. So it really challenges you to think, what is actually most important to me today? If the whole day goes to chaos, but I only do 3 things, will I still feel accomplished? Just training your discipline, training yourself to ask and answer that one question. Every single day, you'll end the day feeling like you were a winner. And that really makes a difference when it starts compounding over time. If you go to bed every night and say, I did my 3 things, I'm a winner. I defined it, I did it, and now I'm done. Great.
And here's what's great about this. Now, I put 5. Lindsay says 2 to 3. I say 5. Whatever piques your fancy, whatever feels like it's going to feel successful for you. But the great thing about having a criteria for success is, has anyone gotten to the middle of the day and been like, oh my gosh, today's a total failure? Like today sucked. Yeah.
Yes,
So what's great is I've had days where it's like 5 p.m. and I'm like, damn, like I totally missed the mark. I wasn't as focused. I didn't execute the right way. Or, I planned on closing that deal and it didn't work, or that meeting just totally fell apart. Well, I look at my list and I say, what can I do that's still on this list that would make today a win? And you can ask yourself that at any time. Okay, based off of the things I said I wanted to do, what would set me up for success tomorrow, or what would make the rest of the day a win? So we can start to influence ourselves in that way to shift our focus from feeling like we have to be perfect to see, hey, I always have a say in what happens next, right? I always have a say in what happens next.
So grab that, because that's going to be your daily. Now, here are your action items. From secret number 1, we told you you're going to have some action items. First, commit to some type of calendar system if you aren't already. It will change your life. Whether it's a paper planner that looks like one that I showed you, or it's digital. That was Google Calendar that you just saw. Really simple, really easy. You can use Apple, Outlook, whatever you have. But commit to a calendar and then schedule your next Sunday setup. Today is Thursday. Block off 30, 60 minutes, maybe 15 to start. Get your Sunday setup going. And then lastly, starting tomorrow, power list. That's it. And you're already making progress, right? We can celebrate that. You're already making progress on your time. That said, is everybody good on secret number 1? Is that there's something helpful there for everybody, at least one thing. Beautiful. Okay, now we got 2 more still. So let's rock and roll.
Awesome.
Keep it going.
I can't fix the hand, so you might be able to take care
That's
of it.
okay.
So second part of this, I already alluded to it a little bit, but if we want to start managing our time, sometimes we might still be doing a great job. We're power listing, we're setting up the schedule, but we still feel overwhelmed. We have our business, we have our career, we have our family, we have responsibilities. Does anyone ever feel like that? No matter how much you manage your time, there's still a bunch of things on your plate that you just can't manage. So this is where we need to start expanding our capacity, right? We need to expand the way that we're thinking about our days. Now, for some of you, that might be a big ask. Like, how the heck do I expand my capacity when I'm already at capacity? Well, we have to start to understand that there's a reason why you feel stressed all the time. There's a reason why you feel overwhelmed. And that's because the definition of stress is when the demands, whether they're direct or perceived, exceed our capacity. Right? That is the actual definition of stress. So when we feel like, oh my gosh, I don't have enough time, I don't have enough resources, I don't have the bandwidth for this, we start to go into fight or flight. Our brain's looking for a potential threat to our survival, and we kick on. We're trying to attack the day. That's why a lot of times we'll feel like we don't have time when realistically we do, right? How you feel about time, there's a great mentor of ours that says that time's an emotion, right? Time is an emotion. Has anyone ever had a minute that felt like an hour? Like, oh my God.
Doing a plank?
Has everyone ever had an hour that felt like a minute? You're like, oh my God, I was just so sometimes the state we're in impacts the way we feel about our time. And so we always want to be mindful of the state that we're in, because that's going to impact the way that we're carrying ourselves throughout the day. Now, you might be saying, again, I'm at capacity, Brian. How do I actually expand this? Well, we have a few options. First, you can start saying no. Right? Maybe you can start saying no to some things. What are you saying yes to? Steve Jobs says the definition of focus is actually saying no. Definition of focus is knowing what to say no to, right? So maybe you have to start saying no to some things, or maybe you have to decrease the amount of stress. Maybe you just actually embrace the challenge and say, you know what, I'm here for it. It's not a very good long-term strategy, but hey, maybe this might be a season where you have to push, or you can start increasing your bandwidth. And that's what I'm going to teach you today. That's what we really want to show you through this formula, because there's really 3 main, we'll say, levers that you can use to increase your capacity. Okay. And we're going to actually give you some questions. So you might want to jot these down. You can also reflect on them afterwards as well. But there's 3 levers that you can pull that can increase your capacity. The first lever is elimination. What can I eliminate? I know that a lot of times, for some of you might be a business, you might be a manager, but one of the questions I ask to every single one of our clients is, what can you automate, eliminate, or delegate? And elimination is the first key to increasing your space, increasing your capacity. So what are the low-hanging ROI tasks and commitments that you're doing every day? What are the non-essential habits that are draining your time, energy, and focus? And here's what's great. You can eliminate something for the short term and then add it back in the future, right? So sometimes you might have to say, you know what, it's really just, this isn't the season of life where I'm going to be doing that. I love to play guitar. Maybe not in this season, right? I'm busy. Like, so my capacity is a little bit different. So I've eliminated some of that, right? So you can start asking yourself, is this really something that's helping me get better? Is this essential for me based off of my current responsibilities? Sometimes it's a relationship, right? Sometimes it's a habit. There's things that we have to eliminate. It takes courage, but we can do it. So that's the first thing we want to consider, the first lever we can pull. And then the second lever is delegation. Where can you buy back some of your time, right? Where can you buy back some of your time? Is it, hey, can I hire a cleaner? Can I, honestly, the best task for Lindsay and I is doing this, which is why we have a sales team. Which is why we have onboarding specialists, because they're better at those tasks, and allows us to do the art, allows us to do the creative, allows us to do what we're best at. Sometimes in your business, you might need to delegate things. It might be asking your spouse, your partner, or someone else to help you prep meals. Honestly, a lot of times when people hire us as their coaches, they're delegating their fitness to us, right? You are delegating upstream the help that you need. Sometimes, I know we have a lot of females here, it might be asking your husband for help, right? Hey, I really need you to do this. And I'm going to be honest, sometimes we as guys need that very direct feedback.
Josh,
yes, thank you. I just need you to tell me that you actually need help with this.
Instead of us just saying, I'm really stressed about stuff.
Oh my gosh, the kitchen's getting really messy. Hey, just tell me that you need me to do the dishes. I will do that, right? So again, these are just little plays, but you can ask yourself, where can I pull in or receive help, right? And it might not be fixing everything, delegating everything, but just delegate one thing, right? Delegate something small. And it's very helpful to start creating that capacity. And then the last is automation. Automation. What can you automate? With technology, you can automate so much. Lindsay and I do not go to the grocery store unless we want to. But every week we have an automated, hey, this is our Instacart order. Hey, you know what? I know that these products I'm going to eat every week. Automate it. I know, hey, and what's great is it actually saves me money because I get to see what I'm spending at the end of the actual purchase. Boom, fantastic. I get to automate that. We automate our supplements. We automate a lot of our purchases through Amazon. There's things you can automate. There's systems. We automate a lot of our schedule, to be honest, because we know that we have certain calls at certain times, right? It's just going to happen automatically. So I might as well keep it on there. So again, how can you use a system to start automating your daily rhythms?
Yep.
In a question, you can screenshot this. I know some of you are writing this, but your actual question, right, can give you this as something to screenshot and you can reflect on later. But what are the time wasters that you need to eliminate in this season of life? What are the time wasters? Behaviors, it can be people. Doesn't mean those people are a waste. It just means that in this season, hey, maybe I just need to back myself away from it. That you're giving more time, energy, or focus to than you need to. What could you delegate to someone to regain your time? Whether it's outsourcing or asking for help. And what is something that's reoccurring in your life that you could automate to regain a new few moments, right, in your week or increase your mental capacity? What could you automate?
Last example I'll give you, because this is really the action item, is audit your time through the lens of the 3 levers. And a great example, I have a client whose kids are in a crazy amount of sports that require hours of travel every evening. It's bananas. And she felt really bad for not having prepared meals for them to take in the car. And so she actually delegated that or outsourced that. She started buying factor meals. I did some research for her. She bought the factor meals. They have healthy items, healthy activities that she can give to them. And so she has something for them every night when they get in the car. And it just gave her immense mental bandwidth. She doesn't feel bad about it. She feels like, oh, I can actually just be present with them instead of feeling guilty that I'm not preparing dinner for them as their mother. It's like, Awesome. Great.
So before we go forward, how is this landing? Is there some things that are at least sparking some insights, things that are helpful, maybe some automations, eliminations, some delegations?
Good.
Okay, awesome.
Good. I'm glad. And remember, we're giving you what we said. We're going to give you a lot. Take what you need.
This is called everything in the kitchen sink, okay?
Yes. So let's go, because we got one more. Now, you've taken ownership of your time, and maybe you have a little bit more time than you thought you did as you start thinking about, okay, what could I automate, eliminate, delegate, etc. And so now the question when we talk about, now we can get to fitness. Right now we can get to fitness and health because we've removed all the constraints of, I don't have time. Yes, you do. Now, how do we make the time you do have, even that little bit of space you maybe carved or created, how do we make that effective? That is really the question that we want to answer for you here. So how do you get results, even with a little bit of time? What is the most effective way to do this? Because you can go into the gym and bebop around for 30 minutes and get absolutely nothing out of it.
Yeah, not having a plan is probably the worst approach to fitness because you go to the gym and, you kind of do this and you kind of do this. We want to get to the gym. We want to have a plan. We want to execute. We want to leave, right? And I don't want to spend a lot of time there. I'm a busy person. I want to get in and out. And so what we want to share with you is we actually want to give you the effective fitness formula, right? What is the effective fitness formula? Well, you can think of this as how you're going to be able to lose weight and get fit when you have very limited time to spare.
Yes. And there's 3 elements of this. First is to leverage keystone habits.
So does everyone know what a keystone habit is? Anyone? Okay.
Cool.
Awesome. So a keystone habit, this is what we actually start off all of our clients with. A keystone habit is the small habit that you build in your morning or in your day that has a positive ripple effect throughout the rest of your behaviors. So you think of someone who wakes up and they have a donut. They have a massive sugar rush, and that starts them on this train of craving sugar, craving more sweet things. Whereas if we wake up and work out or drink something, drink water, have something healthy, that actually starts a chain reaction as well. So a keystone habit is the one habit that starts a positive ripple effect throughout our day. And I think that a lot of times people feel like they have to overcomplicate things. They have to try to go from 0 to 1,000. And that's not what really works because it's not sustainable. And so what we focus on at the Fitness Project is first habit ramping. So versus, you're starting off at 0, you want to get to step 100. It's like, how can I start leveraging the highest ROI habits to actually get momentum? Because if I can get momentum, I reset my foundation. And so if you want to be more effective with your fitness, ask, what are the things that don't actually take me any extra time, but would be healthy for my body? So the answer might be taking the stairs instead of, taking the elevator. It might be drinking water before coffee. It might be instead of scrolling on your phone for 10 minutes, it might be getting outside and going for a walk. Mm-hmm. These are all simple daily habits that influence us to become healthy, right? And so instead of feeling like we have to overcorrect, we want to start building the baseline at a higher point. And I think that that's the key is what are the decisions I make every day that if I shifted them, wouldn't take me any extra time, but would allow me to start moving myself towards health. So we have to start with that mindset of incremental changes versus being perfect. Because if you have failed with this, it's most likely the case that you're trying to be perfect. You're trying to be all or nothing. And all or nothing usually equals nothing, right? So we want to start ramping up our habits so we can get momentum and really build the sustainable systems that we need.
Yeah, and the all or nothing that Brian just mentioned is spot on because what tends to happen if you don't have any type of habits or ramping going on is you keep telling yourself, I need to work out 5 times a week. I need to go to the gym 5 times a week. I need to go to the gym 5 times a week. And it just is this monster where you end up not going at all, right? So Delena's a really good example of this. She's genuinely somebody who had no time. She would leave her house at 7 a.m. I had her send me her schedule when she first started. She left her house at 7 a.m. She got home at midnight because she was working full time and then going to law school at night. So that's a lot. I was like, all right, I agree. You really don't have a lot of time here. And you're driving and commuting an hour to each location. Crazy. So she started with 15 minutes of walking per day because that's what worked. That's what fit. I had her eat a healthy breakfast in her car on the go for 12 months. And she learned how to separate stress from food, separate emotion from food specifically. So she wasn't overeating at night when she was stressed at the end of the day and she was hungry after class. And just those few things started her process where she was like, oh, I can make progress. I can do this even when, I don't have time. She has now completed 3 marathons and lost 80 pounds. She is living a very healthy lifestyle. She is in insane shape. She's run far more marathons than I have. We just did a podcast with her too. It just came out on Conquer the Day podcast. If you guys haven't listened to that, it came out Tuesday. So amazing story. Amazing, amazing story. And that's the power of starting small.
Yeah, you don't have to fix everything at once. We have to fix the things that we can.
Yes.
And so if that's our mindset, right, they think of that first one as the mindset, right? The mindset we have to have is ramping up. The second element is what do we have to actually do with our body, right? Now, you don't have to go and run a marathon to get fit. You don't have to start doing HIIT workouts. What we actually want to do is we want to leverage functional strength training. Functional strength training, like when you think of the machines at the gym, right? You go to the gym, you see the machines. Those machines are actually helping your body move in the way that it's supposed to move. And there's exercises that are functional for your body that mimic what you need to do in everyday life. For example, picking something up and putting it above head, picking something up from the ground, squatting, sitting down. We want to get stronger because strength is the key to longevity. And when we increase our strength, we actually increase our independence as we age. And yes, it's great to look fit, right? When you change your body from building muscle, right? You know, your metabolism goes up and everything and the like. But the actual ideal target when you're talking about strength training is not to go and try to strength train every day of the week. Now, for some of you who might be doing, let's say 2 or 3 days already, maybe you can add a second or a fourth day. But if you're not training at all or inconsistent, the goal is just to train 2 or 3 times.
Every single week.
Every single week. It's like, hey, how can I train 2 or 3 times per week? And what's great is if you do it the right way, it should take you 30 to 40 minutes.
Shouldn't be enough.
In and out of the gym. And that's why having an effective plan is so essential. Now, a great example of this put into practice, again, what we call it is our optimal body blueprint, so that you can optimize your body with functional strength, mobility, and making sure that daily movement is a part of your everyday life.
And Kylie's a great example of this. We have, a lot of clients are here. We could use them as examples too. Kylie has been working with us for about 3 years now. And she started really small. Like she had major knee surgeries, couldn't do a lot, honestly, especially anything related to walking or running. So we started her with 3 really short workouts at home. She wasn't at a gym. She was like a little intimidated by it. So we started her at home, 20, 30 minutes. She built a really solid base of strength training. And then what happens when you start at the level you're at is then you start to crave more. Mm-hmm. And that's something that a little mind game we play with clients in a positive, playful way is we start you so small that you crave more instead of feeling overwhelmed, extremely sore, and really not like limping, not wanting to go back. Right, which is how a lot of people approach training. So we start small so that you say, hey, this is too easy. Let's go. Bring it. So that's what we did with Kylie. And now she's in an incredible shape. And she went from not being able to walk across a crosswalk without her knees hurting to running a half marathon and now prepping for another one. So again, I guess half marathons and marathons are a big thing once your knees feel good. But she's lost 40 pounds. She's become super fit. And it's all just started small with some strength training.
Again, these are all just small as examples, but we want to actually tie in, I think, the easiest for those of you who are busy.
Yes.
All right, so maybe you can't work out. Well, let's start fueling your body well, right? You can always make different decisions with your food. You can't always make perfect decisions, but this is where we have the most influence. And what I would encourage you to write down when it comes to fuel, we'll talk about this in a second, but write down net time.
N-E-T.
N-E-T time. You want to look at this as a decision that takes no extra time. Net time stands for no extra time, right? So can I prep food while I'm watching Netflix? Yes, you can. Can you cook chicken? Can you bake chicken? Hey, if I'm at a restaurant, do I have to get the cheeseburger and french fries, or can I order something that's healthier for my body? The answer is of course. So the reason why fuel is so important is because it actually increases the odds that we're successful with this. Because you make far more decisions to eat than you do to work out, right? You're making decisions all day long to eat. So the way that we actually focus on this is called the flexible nutrition method. So what we want to do with the flexible nutrition method is we want to learn, this is what we do at the Fitness Project, we want to learn how to approach food in a way that's flexible and not restrictive, but allows us to optimize our health. And that starts with having a healthy relationship with food. Because if you don't have a healthy relationship with food, there's not a diet in the world that will work for you. And so how do you know you have a healthy relationship with food? Well, it's understanding, hey, do I eat when I'm stressed? Do I eat when I'm bored? Do I turn to food when I'm overwhelmed? No judgment, but that's an area we want to actually improve. And then if we can do that while starting to educate ourselves about what our body needs, that's where this becomes something that's sustainable and really makes it so, hey, we're just a healthy person. We're a fit, healthy leader, and this is something that we do for life. And so an example of this, again, giving you some examples so you can start to see how this actually comes together. If we master our time, which is a great example that this client has done, he's really mastered his time, and then we start to remove some of the constraints, well, then the fitness part becomes easy. Now, this is Matt's approach and how he's fueled his body. Matt came in, was incredibly overwhelmed with the idea of getting fit again. His first week with us, he texted me, Brian, I don't really think I can do this. And so I just don't even think it's just impossible. I said, well, can you eat a healthy breakfast? I could eat a healthy breakfast. Okay, that's all I want you to do this week. Okay, so he started eating healthy breakfast, and then he started to work on his relationship with food. Lo and behold, when he would get stressed, he would turn to food. Okay, let's talk about that. How can you build a healthier relationship with food? These are things that most of us don't even consider, right? How can you build a healthier relationship with food? And then once we started to do that, we started to implement that healthy breakfast and healthy lunch. Those started to ramp up, and then we said, okay, he was always traveling. He's an entrepreneur. He's flying all over the place. And I said, okay, what's our approach for eating at restaurants? Not, all right, I get chicken and salad and hate my life. But how can I actually order when I'm at the restaurant so that I keep eating the way that I want and I don't feel like I'm missing out, but it helps me hit my goals? So Matt's been a client now for 3.5 years. And he's down 90 plus pounds. He's healthier than he ever has been before. And his business continues to grow because he's at his best and he's showing up as the leader he wants to be. So again, you do not have to fix everything. Mm-hmm. You need to, hey, have the mindset of how can I meet myself where I'm at? And that's the same thing with time as well. Meet yourself. Like we gave you a lot of information, but meet yourself with your current time management skills and then ramp them up. Definitely. Meet your body with what it needs and then continue to work on that approach to food so it just becomes a normal part of life. And if you do that, that's where you really can transform the way you feel, the way you look, and the way you live.
Yeah. So in summary, this is kind of what we're alluding to here is how do you lose weight? How do you get fit if you don't have a lot of time to spare? Well, you got to value incremental change. That's really what it is when it comes to habit ramping. As coaches, we give that to you. We say we value these things, therefore you should too. But a lot of times people get stuck with fitness because they don't value the small habit. They don't value the 10-minute walk. They don't think it matters or it counts or it's important. And that's where they get stuck. Train effectively, fuel flexibly, and you'll get right on your way. Now, do we see how kind of all this starts coming together? If we look at like, okay, let's work on our time management. Let's expand our capacity. Let's take some things off our plate. Then you can start to implement fitness, but it needs to be effective. We need to know we're getting the most out of it in order to be consistent with it. Gonna start seeing that, right?
Totally.
You know, if you want to lose weight, get fit, and you don't have a lot of time to spare, again, just stacking it. First, you got to become the owner of your time. You got to really take that back. You got to stop saying, hey, I don't have time for this. Yes, you do. If you want to make time, you've got it.
You got to stop being a task manager and be a results producer.
Then we need to expand your capacity. What can we take off your plate? Is there anything on your whole time audit that you can automate, eliminate, delegate? Is there anything in there? Most likely there's something. And then we can say, what's the most effective method to get in shape? And then we can implement that, right? Now, the last thing, anybody who's ever started strong, fell off? Yes. I'm sure every hand goes up, right? That's because a lot of times we will make commitments and then we'll start to implement and either not get the results we want or stress flares up, right? So how do we keep our commitments to ourselves? How do we keep ourselves from falling off? There's 4 very quick hit. You're going to feel like quick fire, just things to keep in the back of your mind for once you get yourself going. How do you keep yourself going? Number 1, you got to have a compelling vision, and it's got to go beyond, I want to weigh this much or I want to work out this many times a week. It needs to be a whole picture. Like, who do you actually want to become? Why is this important to you? How is this going to have a positive impact on the people around you? Your spouse, your kids, your family, your work, right? We need to actually see it bleed into other things because otherwise it operates in a silo. And when things get hard, it's the first thing to go off the plate because we kind of tell ourselves, well, there's no impact If I don't work out, it doesn't impact anybody. It's like, that's a belief system. That's not true. It actually does, because you impact everyone. And if you work out and feel better about yourself, you're probably more lovely to be around, I would bet. So you got to have a compelling vision. That's number one. You have to have, I can't harp on this enough, you have to have a strategy that's actually built for your body. There is in your life, there is a unique type of commitment, or we'll say maybe fire under your butt, when you actually feel like something is built for you.
It's like a suit.
It's like a suit, right? I guess I don't wear lady suits, but maybe.
Lindsey wouldn't know.
But if you go and you do a workout that's from YouTube, it's like nobody's on the other side, right? No, it's really not built for you. There's not this pull to it. There's not this accountability or this reciprocity. So if it's built for you and for your body and you know it, you're much more likely to follow through. It just creates this type of pull to it. So, and you allows you to execute without overwhelm. You have certainty that this is built for me. I know it's going to work. Boom, I'm going to go do it. And then third, you have to pull in some sources of accountability. Okay, there's a lot of different ways to do this, but it comes down to this. You have to track and measure, and then instead of abandoning it because your weight went up one day, you got to track, measure, and adjust. Track, measure, adjust. This is a process of iteration. This is a process of iteration. And then utilize coaching. Think about kids' sports. A coach is there to help you win. A coach is there to help you be the best player you can be. So in this realm of working on yourself, having somebody who's actually acting as your coach, ideally not your spouse, ideally not your best friend, you got to have somebody who's the expert, who's actually coaching you to be the best player that you can be and helping you win, to keep you focused. And if you can pull all those pieces together, then you can really, really win in this game, and you can be consistent. You can build it as a lifestyle. So I'll pause there because I know that's a lot. Does anybody listen to this and feel like they might need a little bit more direction or benefit from more direction? I know we just shared like a lot about fitness, training, nutrition. There's a lot here, but does anybody feel like they need a little bit more guidance on this one?
Love it.
Okay.
I love it.
If you're a client, write that down and ask us later. But yeah, so that's normal. So great news. I'll assume you want some great news. This is exactly what we do, right? We're here teaching you this stuff, but this is exactly what we do for our clients. We don't come in and build your schedule for you, but we do make sure that the fitness and the nutrition and coaching side of things is really, really clear and crisp and useful for you so you can execute.
And another piece, why are we coaching on time today? Well, because that's the actual root problem that creates the symptom of you not working out.
Yes.
Right. That's the root problem that if we remove it, you'll actually go and execute well. And so that's where a lot of our coaching systems come in, is what is the root problem that we have to get to that we can eliminate and then move forward. Yeah. And so at the Fitness Project, we bring a proven system for high performers who want to master their health, want to have energy. They want to have confidence without extreme diets or overtraining, so that you can actually have the level of health, fitness to be the leader that you know you need to be. And that's really our core focus.
Yeah, we had a client say this the other day. So if you're a client and you're here, I know you probably felt this at some point in time, but if this is your first introduction to us, you don't know anything about us or what we do or who we serve, but our aim is really to put a team around each client, like make them feel like they are not alone, like they've got people rooting for them, people really pushing them, people challenging them to be their best. And a client said this on a call with tears in her eyes the other day. She was like, I actually have a team, because she's only a couple weeks in.
Then you do not have to cry when you work with us.
You don't. But that it's a big deal. And I know that from personal experience too, is having a team around you really does make a big difference. So the last thing we want you to do is get on this hour-long conversation and either feel super, super overwhelmed because this is great information and you don't know what to do with it, or like, okay, I'm super motivated, I am ready. And you start, and then next week, everything falls apart. And we do nothing, right? That's not what we want. So if you want some feedback and you want some direction genuinely, you'll know if this is for you, but we've got you if you need some of this. So our gift for you, our bonus, if you are here and you really feel like you do need some direction, is we are going to give you a strategy call with us at the Fitness Project. And Brian or I will be on that call with you. So this is going to be 30 minutes. We're going to build a personalized game plan for you to make sure that you can take ownership of your time. You feel in control. You know what to do. and you can walk away feeling clear. So that said, we'll leave you here for this evening. Thank you for your attention. We do not take it lightly. We'll make sure you get this recording and have a great rest of your week.